Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Faye. I also go by Faye. And today's video is going to be all about my plants. So I have collectively about 9 plants, and I've been collecting these plants over the past 2 or so years. I'm going to talk about them, share with you what I feel like the best plants to have indoor, and then what I do to keep my plants alive. So I have a list on my phone, and I'm going to go through all of them. So the list I have on my phone, I do that to keep track of the plants I have, which ones need like a lot of light, low light, a lot of water, medium water. I'm gonna put all the names of the plants on the screen because I know I'm about to butcher the pronunciation of all of these.
Heartleaf philodendron.
So the first one I have is called the heartleaf philodendron. Had to look up how to pronounce that last word. And this is one of my newer plants. I recently got this one and it grows very fast. I like the way it grows in a downward motion. And I just have it on my desk, you know, lightly falling. The next one I have is the Pathos ivy, and it could also be mistaken for the Brazil philodendron. This one is also in the similar category as the plants that grow in a downward motion. And I just really like these ones because it's like a different vibe when it comes to plants. Because a lot of plants obviously grow towards the sun, but this one grows down, so it's just, you know, it plays a lot with height and dimension, especially in my bedroom.
Zamioculcas zamifolia.
Did you get that?
Zamioculcas zamifolia.
So yes, that is what it's called, but it's commonly known as a ZZ plant. And this is one of my favorite because it doesn't need that much light. It doesn't need that much water, and it thrives regardless. It's one of those plants I've had, I think, from the moment I moved into this apartment about 1.5 years ago, and I barely do anything to it, and it's thriving. It's doing its thing. The next plant is the dumb cane plant, and this one needs high light, low water, and a lot of the water goes through the soil quite easily, so I have to drain it a lot. I mean, not that much, but like every other week I have to like take out the water at the bottom and pour it out. Snake plant, which is another plant that doesn't need that much water, doesn't need that much light. It thrives regardless of whatever's happening. I barely put any water in it, even though I still water it, but it's doing good regardless. Woo, these names. Let me just look it up.
Arboricola.
Arboricola. And this plant needs high amount of light and medium amount of water, and yeah. And next we have
Philodendron monstera.
the Philodendron monstera. Doesn't need that much light, medium amount of light, and medium amount of water. And then my last one, which is actually my oldest plant, and it's this one right here, and it's called the peace lily plant. Lily flowers sprout from the plant. So the leaves themselves are very like luscious and big, but depending on the season, they actually produce really pretty white flowers, which are stunning. And right now it's not in season, so we don't have any flowers, but the plant itself is also really pretty. So now I'm gonna move on to my plants storage slash display. So like the potters and the planters I use, the baskets that I use, the different stools I used to have dimension. And then I have one of my plants hanging from the ceiling. So is it like yarn or is it rope? So just like the whole aesthetic that brings everything together. So how and where I got most of this stuff. Half of the stuff I have to display my plants are thrifted. So behind me I have 3 different stools. I will say 2 stools and then 1 bar shelf that I think was part of an office like chest of drawers, but in the thrift store they're only selling 1 piece, so I bought just that 1 piece. And that's what I used to prop my lamp, because my lamp itself is quite tall, but I wanted it to be taller to align with the mirror. And then I also have a plant on top of that. And then I have a very tall stool, which is white with like a pine wood or lighter wood base on top. And then I have a smaller stool, which has a little bit of like a shelf unit and then 4 little short legs. And it's completely white. And I also got that at a thrift store. Most of the stuff I thrifted at a Goodwill. I go to different Goodwills around me, and sometimes I even venture out a couple miles to see what other Goodwills have. Inexpensive furniture in general, regardless of like plants and stuff. You should definitely check out your local Goodwill, your local thrift store, and see what you can find. It'll take a couple of trips and a lot of patience to find stuff that actually matches your style or your aesthetic or whatever vibe you're going for within your home. But I highly recommend it. And most of this stuff I got it, I want to say anywhere between $2 to $5. This basket, this woven basket, which I got on sale at Target, I love how it's like a creamish light brown. Is it a brown? Beige, that's the word, a beige. And then it has like some white thread going through it that also looks like a plant or a branch, some kind of like embroidery that gives like an extra touch. Then I also have a bunch of different white plant potters or planters, depending on where you're from, you call it different names. But the little pot that your plant goes into. And most of the ones I got are from IKEA. And then the one I have over here that has the black leg stand and then the white base, Hobby Lobby. And I'll try and find all the links and put them down below if you yourself want to buy them, or if I can't find it online, I'll find similar looking items. So another thing I'm going to talk about, which kind of falls under the whole display and storage part of having plants, is lighting. The way my room is set up, I do have one really big window, but my bed faces that direction. So to combat that, and most of the time light doesn't always flow through the window, it depends on when the sun rises and sets. And if I'm running late for work, I don't always open my blinds, I just like dash out. So one thing I decided to do was to buy a lamp that's specifically for my plants. So obviously like I use a lamp in my room to actually like see and you know what lights are for. But I bought this particular one with the purpose of putting it near my plants, so my plants have their own source of light. Nothing I have that really goes well with my plants is a really big frame that's in the center of the display, and I thrifted that frame from Goodwill. Again, I spend a lot of time with thrift stores, so I find a lot of pieces, a lot of items there. What's the word for it? Like a typography board or a text board? I don't know the exact name, but you can like change out the words and switch out what it says. And right now I just have like a Bible verse that I really love. And then next to it I have a gold letter F, because my name is Faye or Faye. My name starts with F. So I decided to have something there that's a little bit more personal. Got that from Hobby Lobby. I also have a photo from a photographer that I found online. I really love this work, so I reached out and then he sent that to me. So I have it here on my display. So now I'm gonna move on to plant care. And for this, I have a lot of stuff that I have found works best for me, but I realized that I don't really need all of this to own plants or to care for plants. You can definitely do without this, but I highly recommend you get this just to make life easier for you. Is just something to water your plants, the most basic thing ever. Sometimes I'll be honest, if I find like I have water on my desk I didn't finish or I forgot it overnight, I just take that water from a cup and I water my plants. The next item or tool that I recommend is a spray bottle. I don't think everyone needs this in my personal opinion, but this is the exact same one I have or I use for my hair. And if you have like natural hair, most women who have natural hair have a spray bottle. So it helps to have this for my hair, but it also helps for my plants. So I use this to spray the leaves of my plants because the way I see it is if my plants were outside, it will rain and then the water droplets would fall onto the leaves and trickle down into the stem. I recommend having a towel. Again, this is just me being extra. You do not need any of these things, but it helps me take care of my plants. So this is a very, very old faded towel that I've turned into the towel strictly for my plants. And what I use this towel for is two things. I use it to wipe down the dust. If there's a lot of dust that accumulates on my leaves of my plants, I just use it to wipe it down. I don't do that often because if I use a spray bottle, that should take care of the dust. How do I describe this? I'm just gonna put a clip of what I do because I'm really bad at describing this, but in so many words, I lift out the plant from the planter and then I put it onto this towel so it doesn't mess up my floor or my carpets. Then I take the planter or the plant pot, then I dump the water out. So again, you do not need this. You can just take your hand and cut away all the dead leaves. Because in the past I have yanked a stem or dead leaf off and then I took out some other leaves that were doing just fine. And last but not least is this. So once you start to get a bunch of plants, other living things decide to grace your apartment. So because I also like to leave my windows open, I like natural air coming into my apartment. So sometimes bugs might also come along and they're very attracted to my plants, especially when I have a lot of plants in one area. So it says for control of insects, diseases, and mites. So that's another thing, that your plants are living beings, so they can also get sick as well. So this helps with that, and it pretty much takes care of any kind of insect or bug that can affect your plants. And what I like about this is that it's not like very toxic like to humans, but obviously you shouldn't spray it in your mouth. You can still get sick if you ingest it, because it says keep away from children. But at the same time, it's not like if you spray you have to leave your room and then let it air out after 2 or 3 hours. You can spray it and continue doing whatever you were doing. One thing I would definitely say for anyone who's really into plants or trying to start, getting a couple plants in their household is don't get too hung up in trying to keep your plants alive. I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself because I do all this stuff for my plants because I actually enjoy it. It's more like a hobby, but like all living things, plants will also die. Every animal dies, so it's just a circle of life. And I feel like keeping that in mind, if you see one of your leaves are decaying or one of your plants isn't doing so well, definitely try and do what you can, but don't get too hung up if it doesn't live forever. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, just reach out to me. I love to interact with you guys. Bye.